Yes, Hickok 45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Tennessee. Yes, the home of some warriors. Alvin York, Sam Houston, Davy Crockett. Need I say more? Yes, we're here, and I'm glad you're here out here on this December day. Yeah, imagine that, it's December already. In wintertime. Really, it's winter, but it's not too bad today. Got a little reprieve this week. Yeah, that was 40 I was shooting, and I brought them both out. Kind of similar reasons, I guess. Well, not really. I just want to take some shots. I've not fired this yet. Maybe it won't work. It's a Cimarron a transition gun. It's a Richards Conversion for the 1860 Army. If you're familiar with that, it was a percussion gun. Guess when it came out? Pretty good, 1860. And they were later converted by Colt because, when the patent ran out, and, Smith & Wesson was able to make big cartridge revolvers, earlier before Colt was, because they owned the patent on the rolling white patent, whatever, and bored through cylinders, were able to bore all the way through the cylinder and use a cartridge, whereas Colt couldn't do that. And but they converted these, I don't know, they started, I guess it was after the war, around 65, and then on up into 73. They may have converted some even after 73 when the Colt single action came out, because they had the guns. I don't know, I've heard or read one way or the other on that, it doesn't really matter, but they had a lot of them, a lot of the parts, and they were available. And once cartridges came about and hit the big time, then if you had a percussion 1860 Army, you might have wanted to trade it in or get it converted or whatever. There are a lot of different conversions, and I think the most famous or noted were Richards or Richards Mason, and there were different generations of those and everything else. But most people were not long-range marksmen, with a revolver, and didn't even try to be necessarily. They had a good rifle, but the revolver, of course, had its place. Packable, portable, and everything, and up close and everything. So the cartridges, having cartridges was the big thing. And this one, even though it's not quite as smooth as a Colt single action Army, you got your loading gate they installed, and you got your ejector, they tacked on there. It actually did it pretty well. It was a pretty interesting way they did it. We'll do a video on it. I'll show you a lot of close-ups of it and how it works. You can see it's a little more crude than a Colt single action Army if you've not seen these before. But they just shaved off the back of the cylinder and then installed this plate back here. You know what that? Okay. It's weird. It looks like on this one it's actually part of the frame, but it would not have been. It was installed. Well, I guess it's a separate piece, I guess. But yeah, interesting. I always thought they were interesting guns, and they were widely used, widely carried. Probably from Civil War up until, I don't know, your guess is as good as mine, 1875 or something. You would have seen more of these kinds of things, conversions, than you would have seen, of course, Colt single action Armies, even though they were very, very popular. All right, so we'll talk about all that and get into that. So here we are again, 101. We passed 100, and there's no need to do the in the reloading room and back out here and that kind of thing this week. It's actually easier to do it this way, and if the weather's decent at all. But I think what'll happen is if it's really a bad week, it'll just be all in the reloading room, okay? And you won't get any shooting. But I know what I'll do. I'll make you a deal. I guess I can keep my promise. I won't promise, but I'll try to make you a deal. If this winter, as it gets colder and rainy, and it's just not a day, late in the week, you want to usually do these late in the week, because I want to keep them timely. They're not Sunday morning, right? Brain deduction. But I will, if if I don't shoot any in the Sunday shoot around, maybe I'll rename it Sunday Gab around that Sunday. But I'll post something with at least a little gunfire, okay, a video that we have maybe on the same day. How's that? Okay, just so you can see some gun smoke, hear some gunfire. Okay, but I think on these I'm more likely to, I don't know, let's see how it goes, but more likely to be like either in the reloading room or out here. I'd just rather come out here and withstand the cold, you know, if it is cold. Not cold today. So I may talk 3 hours. Yeah, so we're here, 101. You never know, you know, it's an interesting thing. You know, a lot of people, you know, make comments about, yeah, we'll see on video 200, you know, and all that. And may I wish you 100 more or 500 more and everything. And I imagine I'll be here, but you never know, do you? Yeah, we never know. You think about that a little more when you get older, but I've always kind of thought about that. I mean, just, you know, people, I had a guy played basketball in high school. He got cancer really bad. You know, but the time before you really start thinking about that very much, the end of life, whatever. And he was just eaten up with cancer. They got in there for exploratory surgery like they used to do back then. That had been in the 60s. And just sewed him back up and go home. Make yourself as comfortable as possible. You know, he died. It wasn't anything they could do for him. It was so bad. Maybe today they could have. I don't know how bad it was. But you know, just somebody you knew, you played ball with and talked to, and gone. Here today, gone tomorrow. It seems like in your own mind, and it's the way it goes. And if you've lived very long, you've seen that. You've had that experience a lot of times. You know, people you know, and they're here and they're gone. There's nothing more gone than when somebody dies. They're really gone. You can't rewind. You can't get them back for a day, for a minute, just like you can a video or your phone or something. You know, it's not a microwave oven. I mean, things are, today's technology has spoiled us all. We kind of get this feeling of invulnerability or magic almost, way we can like replay stuff and go back and see movies that were, you know, made in the 1930s as often as we want, or just whatever. Everything's accessible. You know, you can get back to anything almost. You can fly to San Francisco tomorrow. Ooh, perish the thought. Fly to New Mexico, whatever I want to do. You can be there and get back and all that, but you can't bring anybody back. That's for sure. I remember my dad, you know, died suddenly, really, and 94, and I mean, you're always in the middle of something. Right? I mean, like he was on, he and I had watched Lonesome Dove together, and whenever that was, in the 80s or late 80s, was it? Early 90s when it came out. It was on, was it TNT? I don't know, but it was like a 4 or 5 night deal, a couple hours a night or something. And then he got the book, or I gave it to him, I remember, after that. Sometime, maybe for Christmas or maybe in a year or two, I don't know what the time span was exactly, but I know when he passed away, he was going through stuff, and he had been reading, I knew, and he had bookmark in page 55. Yeah, I still got the book with the bookmark, page 55. You know, he got to 55. You know, he didn't know he wouldn't be reading page 56 or 58, you know, or 200. You know, it's just, you just don't know. You'll be in the middle of something probably. The reason I say that, people always say when somebody dies, it seems like, oh man, it's such a shame. You know, he'd just gotten that new job and things were going so well, or he was right in the middle of building the house, you know, his dream house, or he just gotten married, or he just gotten a new dog, or I mean, whatever it is, you know. He was right in the middle of the prime of his life, or he was just beginning to work things out. Maybe he'd had a drug addiction or some problems and was really just getting back on the straight and narrow and was starting to be really productive with his life, and then gets hit by a truck or, you know, whatever it is, or gets some horrible disease, whatever. And but you know, I've made the point many times, and my dad kind of went that way. He was headed to help someone I've mentioned before, I think, do some like hang some cabinets in a kitchen he was building or something. He was a carpenter by trade, and he really could do anything. And unlike me, most of us, right, he can literally do anything, build anything, I mean, fix anything. And he was in his pickup, headed up to Cracker Barrel in Florence, Kentucky, Boone County, and was going to have breakfast at Cracker Barrel, as he often did, and then go on to help us. But I don't know if he was going to meet him there. I think he was just going on down. Well, he didn't make it to Cracker Barrel, an aneurysm, gone. And I didn't make it up there in time. I was teaching here at the time and didn't make it up there in time. He lived a little while, not long. But anyway, the point is he was doing stuff, as he always was. And it's harder on the survivors when that happens, because it's like, what? You kidding? He's gone. What happened? As opposed to someone lying in a nursing home or a hospital in really, really bad shape with something, and then you get the news, and you kind of had some time to prepare. This person may not come out of this or something, but it's always harder on survivors when that happens, family, friends. But that's the way I'd rather be for me, wouldn't you? Yeah, you're going to be doing something, hopefully. Hopefully you're not going to be sitting around, or you're not going to be lying in a hospital bed. You might be. Sometimes we don't have a choice, but so there's a plus and a minus to that. If I'm in the middle of setting up for a video, so be it, or you're cleaning a gun or whatever it might be, or traveling somewhere. It's the way I would rather it be for me. But anyway, morbid topic, I realize, but so true. So true. We do get philosophical at times, right, on Sundays. Can I shoot some more? Yeah, like I said, one reason I got this out, got thinking about it, you know why? Because of you all. In the video on the last Glock I'd ever sell, two things really stood out in my mind. How much people really like the Glock 43X. Really. I mean, you look at the comments, a lot of people just love that gun. And it took me a little while to develop the love for it. The first video with it, I think I said I didn't really have a purpose for it or whatever. By the time we did chapter 2, though, I had found a purpose for it, and it's one of my favorites now, the Glock 43X. And so yeah, a lot of love for that gun, more than I expected. I mean, that thing is phenomenally popular. I mean, you can kind of tell from just the internet reactions, can't you? And then the other thing was, of course, the Glock 19. I mean, so many people, said the same thing. That would be their last choice, et cetera, et cetera. But also a lot of people want to know where I lost my love for the Glock 23, and that their 40 was their favorite. The Glock 23 was their favorite. A lot of people, you saw that, to the point where I got to feeling guilty, almost. And it really, actually, when I saw the first comment about the Glock 23, they were surprised it wasn't on the table. I said, yeah, that's right. I might need to think through that again. That probably should have been at least honorable mention, because I still like it. I think because I went kind of totally 9 for my everyday or common carry guns, that I just sort of put the 40 out of my mind. I like it, still like it, but I just went to 9 and kind of put it away. Magazines and everything is one thing I explained to y'all one time. One reason I did that, because I was shooting both. I was going back and forth between the 19 and the 23 and the 26 and the 27 and all that kind of thing. And I'm going to end up with the wrong magazine in my gun or available and grab it, at the wrong time. I need to settle on one of these. And I was competing with 9, doing Glock matches and different things. And I'm just going to go to the 9. And that's about the time, of course, all the information was coming out, ballistic information about how just wasn't enough difference to make a difference, between the 9 and the 40 and all that sort of thing. I kind of bought into that, I guess, and at least enough that there is a difference, right? If there's not a difference, then let's just all carry a 32 or a 25. If there's no difference in size of the bullet, okay, or the foot-pounds of energy, why are we carrying these big guns? All we need is a 22, 22 short or something. But still, maybe not enough difference to make a difference. I don't know. But anyway, I got to feeling guilty about that. So yeah, I do like the 23. What I really like is this size. This is the same as the 19. Most of you know that. the exact same format. So that's the thing, you know, the 19, that format is my favorite. This was my favorite gun for a long time, and all I did was really kind of change calibers. Yeah, so it's not as dramatic maybe as it seems in terms of my new favorite, right? I'd be good with either one of them. I would. So let's shoot it a little bit. I thought it would be interesting to shoot and see what my reaction is. I've been shooting so much 9 out of a gun this size. And it was interesting because, yeah, it pops a little more, but not much. Let's shoot some here. I had a little trouble getting on the gong. Let me try it again. There we go. Yeah, boy, it hits hard. Yeah, you can feel the power as compared with 9. I've shot 9 so much lately, and it doesn't bother me. For a carry gun, I'd almost rather carry this. I'm about to lose my target. I don't know. You got the power of it, and it's a great round. It really is. If you can handle it, there's nothing wrong with a 40. That's for sure. A lot of people think it's dead, and it may be dead if you can't find ammo for it. Right now is a hard time to judge that, I guess, because ammo's so crazy and randomly unavailable, by caliber, I mean, randomly. When there's if you've noticed over the years, when there's a mild shortage of ammo, it's not as apocalyptic as it has been, then 40 seem to be easier to find because, you know, people all jumped on the 9, seem like, and so not as many people after the 40, I guess. But now I think even firearms available in 40 are just not as easy to find. In fact, I was in a gun shop somewhere, a big gun shop, was telling me they don't sell any 40s. They don't sell any 40 caliber. Nobody's buying them at all. But I don't know. I think it's there's still a loyal following of it. Not like the 10 millimeter. The 10 millimeter is a different category, of course. This one we still have to kind of look at it, I guess, versus 9, you know, because they come in kind of the same size guns. But you know, and then the Glock 23, the new ones. This is a Gen 4, but I guess it's Gen 5 that we did one of those. They're a bigger gun. I mean, they're a bigger gun. So, and heavier and everything. But if I'm gonna, and I don't care if it's only good for 20,000 rounds. You know, if I want to carry a 40, I'll do it, and keep an eye on it. But because I shot one so much back in was it the 90s? Yeah. And I broke a locking block in it eventually after lots of matches and just shooting the thing. I reloaded and I shot it a lot. Shot the heck out of that thing, and I liked it. I used to carry it and then compete with it and everything. So I still like it. You never know. You might see me carrying one. Well, you won't see me. Let's shoot this thing. This conversion. Converted to 45 Colt. Okay. The 1860 Army was a 44 caliber handgun. So why did they convert it to 45 Colt? Well, it was a heel tight bullet, and the case was kind of, well, I guess the case was 40. You know, the bullet was 45. Okay, put it that way, and because it's like a 22, the heel tight bullet, and maybe the case was 44, I don't know, but it wouldn't have been bigger or smaller, would it, than the bullet? Maybe, but it was actually 45 in diameter. I think the reason, well, the 44, 1860, as well as some of the others, they were 452 in diameter. That was the thing, which is 45. And so with round balls, I'm trying to think, I think I load in the 44 caliber percussion Colts a 452 or 454 round ball. I mean, they are 45 caliber, but yet they're considered 44 Colts. 44s. And so, you know, no problem to convert them to 45s since they're really 45s anyway, and use a 45 Colt cartridge. So let's try it. All right. Oh man, this is cool. Been having a lot of fun this week, shooting a lot of interesting firearms, and it's nice having this weather. This has like a 3-click, so sort of the first click is where you get access to the turning cylinder. The old 45. Now I've not shot it. If it blows up, maybe this is the end of me right here, like you were talking about. You never know when it's going to happen. All right, we're on empty chamber. Well, let's see where it hits. All right. Let's try something close. Let's try the cowboy. All right, Prince High. Try a plate here. Got one more. Yeah, okay. Windage looks good, feels good. The Prince High, like a lot of single actions do. So, interesting gun. The old conversion. Now, don't you hang up on me and not want to turn. I hate that with a single action. Let's see if it'll turn. What can I? What that was about. If it's the recoil shield back there, sometimes a primer, well, primers will back out, not if a primer backs out. If you don't have a good recoil shield flat when you fire a cartridge, it will, a little bit more awkward than a Colt single action, it will, the primer will back out a little bit, and come on, there we go. It will back out and then kind of hang up the turning of the cylinder. In fact, the very first Colt, it's a miracle I am a lover of Colt single actions. You know, the very first one I bought in the 70s, it would have been about 75, or I don't know, maybe a little later. I had that problem with the recoil shield. Once you fired it, it didn't want to turn, and took it back, had it worked on. I finally sold it. I got to working okay, but my first experience was not good with 45 Colt. Get off my glasses, Bo. So that's something that you have to watch, and we'll see if we have an issue with that. Sounds good. Sounds like a sewing machine. Let's try it. We'll try it again with some more ammo. So I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and if you celebrate Thanksgiving, which most of us in this country do, I think. Let's see, yeah, I'll put these in here. And like I said, I've been shooting a lot of cool stuff lately. To me, anyway, the Civil War rifle, 1855, you'll be seeing. You might have seen it on Instagram. I posted a picture on Instagram, and we did a little YouTube short. We do a little YouTube short now and then, and you might have seen that because they have to be like under a minute, I think. But I just loaded one and shot the gong with it, and because we had it out shooting it and doing a video with it. And what was I going to say? Yeah, on Instagram I posted pictures. Now I don't know if you don't follow, maybe follow on Instagram the Real Hickok 45. Okay, the Real Hickok 45, because somebody has Hickok 45. And I just post pictures. It's not a marketing line. I just post pictures. If I'm out walking around, like shooting this, I'll post a picture and that kind of thing. I just kind of keep you up to date on pictures, and I kind of use it like I used to use Facebook more, just to post pictures of things, or if I've been on a trip or something. I still do that on Facebook sometimes, but on Instagram, I'll just post something. We're getting ready to do a video and a layout on the table and all this. I'll just put that on Instagram, so check that out. But anyway, the 1855, if you go to Instagram, you'll see the pictures I posted there of it. Beautiful, beautiful gun. It's got the Maynard priming system. It was the first 58 caliber adopted by the U.S. Army, and it looks a lot like the 1861, except for that Maynard tape primer that was pathetic. It didn't really work well. Really just gets in the way. So let's try this again. All right. Okay. If she's high, I'll swing one out there at the gong though. Oh, I see where it's going. There we go. Click. All right. Let's see now if we get a better. Yeah, turning freely now. I need a little breaking in. Okay. I've never done a 45 or a large caliber conversion. We did a 38 a time or two, I think. So yeah, like I say, these things ruled. They ruled the West and the East maybe for a good period of time, because you could buy one. You know, money was tight, and I think whereas a Colt was like 20 bucks or a little more, you could buy one of these, I think, for about half that, one of the conversions, and you got basically the same thing. So interesting, always an interest. Gosh, the firearms history of firearms is just so interesting to me, and it's more than I'm smart enough to absorb. I tell you what, I mean, there's so many different firearms and so much history. Even with just U.S. firearms, so much. Gosh, you get into, I'm a bit of a Civil War buff, and there are so many firearms that were made and used here and there. And I focus on, in our videos, the main ones usually that were used most widely. But gosh, there were so many different firearms and handguns, and gosh, around the world, you all know, whether you're studying World War II history, you pick up a book, Firearms of World War II, you know, it's like, wow, you know, you flip through there and there's 100 guns you've never seen before, you know, or heard of maybe. So interesting endeavor, no doubt about it. So good old 1860. The 1860 had a slightly larger grip. It was based on the frame of the 1851 Navy, so it's got the same size frame. That's why it's got the rebated cylinder. It gets bigger out here at the front part of the cylinder, if you've ever noticed that, so that it'll take a 44, because the 1851 Navy was a 36 caliber. So, but pretty neat. And the bigger grip, you can take those grips off. I've known people to do that and put them on like a Colt single action, modern one. Or I guess it fit on a Navy Colt, and I guess they'd fit on, if like, you probably wouldn't put one on a Colt as much, but if you had a Cimarron 1873, you know, Colt clone, yeah, and maybe you just want a bigger grip on it, you could take them off and put them on. It cost you a gun, but if you liked a bigger grip. And I used to think, with my large hands, that, oh yeah, I wish all guns had that big grip. But I came to learn, it really wasn't until I started shooting cowboy action matches, I think, that I realized I could shoot better with the standard plow handle grip of the Colt single action. The bigger grip like that, or the Bisley grip, if you've ever seen those. Those are more the target grip. You've probably seen some Colts or some clones with that. It's just a bigger, weird looking kind of a grip. And I would just guess, well, that's what I would need. In fact, I had a couple of Rugers I competed with in my first few matches. I bought a matching set of Ruger Vaqueros with the Bisley grip, it was called. And it really wasn't true to the old Colt Bisley grip, but it was pretty close. But it was bigger. And you know, I'd shoot them. I liked them. And they were fun just plinking around. But I realized that when I would shoot my regular Colts or a Ruger with the standard grip, that I don't know, it just felt better. I could manipulate it better, the hammer, and get to everything. And so I went back to standard grips. Strange, very strange for somebody with large hands and a small brain, right? So what else? Okay, any advice for kids before I let you go? Well, I don't know. What I jot down a note here. Wow, just try to be smarter than the people you see in the media. As you're growing up, youngsters, and when I say youngsters, I still do, not to talk down to you, well, I talk down to everybody, I'm 6'8", but not to be condescending. But if you're a teenager or even 20, I used to think I was an adult when I was 20. Oh man, was I so naive. But try not to, try to be more objective, I guess is the word, than the people you see in media, okay, and then politicians, and try to think things through, and definitely don't just take anything you hear, no matter what station you're on, okay, because there's a narrative on every station, whether it's Fox, CNN, and all, they all have a narrative, okay. I tend to think there's a lot more common sense, on Fox, but they've got their narrative, and they're corporate driven, and it's just easy to see what their point of view is too, and what they're trying to promote. So it's that way everywhere. You've really got to think for yourself. You really do, and I don't know how you develop that, because every turn you're coming across an adult that has a huge agenda, and your friends probably have an agenda politically already. So it's hard to remain objective and to be thoughtful about things. And I don't mean in a considerate way, be nice to people. I mean be thoughtful, full of thought, actually full of thinking. That's what I mean by that, okay? And think about stuff, because, I mean, it's just ridiculous, you see it. Even if you're very young, if you're 14 years old, you see enough of the news maybe to see everybody calling everybody a racist and all that kind of thing, and how absolutely stupid it is, and how it dilutes that word and that concept. It has rendered that word almost meaningless, so that when it is needed to point out somebody's bigotry or whatever, then nobody pays any attention to it now. It's just like, if everything is green, nothing is green. I used to tell my students, if everything is up, nothing is up. If everything is easy, nothing is. It's just common sense. So anyway, try to think for yourself. Be a little smarter than the people you encounter. All right, and man, we really need to count on young people to right the ship. And it may be beyond hope, but at least give it a good try. How's that? All right. So what have I been shooting? Yeah, man, all kinds of stuff. Let's shoot this some more. The Civil War rifle sticks out of my mind because it's just so unique and so interesting. Speaking of that, if you live in the area of Middle Tennessee, by the time you see this, I will probably have already been there, unless I don't get there until Sunday. But the Civil War show is going on in Franklin, Tennessee, this weekend, and it's Saturday and Sunday, yesterday and today. And I always enjoy that. And it's another one that's really, it's tough to leave there without something. I do that most of the time, but I have left with some. I bought my 1861 Springfield rifle there several years back, and so you never know what you'll. But it's just interesting whether you buy anything or not. Just interesting. There's a lot of history there, and papers, and clothing, and firearms, cannonballs, all kinds of stuff, bayonets, and it's not all Civil War either. They do have. There's usually a few vendors there with World War II kinds of things. In fact, I bought a really nice. I think it's might be my Lee Enfield bayonet. I believe that one. I might have gotten my 03 Springfield bayonet there. I've got a couple of nice bayonets. I think I bought them there, of all places. So you do see some of that. But Nice show. It's out in Franklin at the Ag Center, and I, I try never to miss that. It's great. It's one of the best shows, as I understand, in the country, Civil War shows. So just something to think about. And if you have one in your area, you're too far away, you see one of those coming up, if you have an interest, they're very interesting to attend and spend a few hours just browsing around, learning history, really. So let me shoot this thing. 40 caliber. Trying to decide if I should have shunned it so badly. Maybe I shouldn't have. Let's go out there. I've got a turkey hanging over there now. Let's try that thing. All right. That's tricky. I'm going to try the gong. I'm getting a weird echo. Sounds like I'm hitting it, but I'm really not, I think. So yeah, the 40 has been declared dead, no doubt about it. But doesn't mean it has to be dead to you or me. Yeah, and that's something to remember about, well, anything, but firearms, whatever. Just because a lot of people declare something useless, or there's better than that now, or whatever. Not necessarily. Gosh, that could be true for almost anything you can imagine, right? If you see a use for it, you got to be careful just going with the majority on stuff, right? Even the majority of people within a narrow field, maybe a narrow field of interest. Sometimes that majority does the same thing as any majority. They just go with the wind, maybe, and maybe with some reason, some rationale, some some justifiable reasoning, but it's not like one is trash just because something else might be a little better. That's the thing we have to remember, right? That there's very little difference. Like I said, I could carry either one of these things, 19 or this one. I'm fine with either one. It's just the the way it goes. It's like marketing. How many times have you heard on a commercial, or you've seen in a magazine ad or whatever, the number one selling brand or product in America or something like that, the number one selling, the top selling, whatever it might be. That's used pretty often, isn't it, to influence you to buy something. Well, does that make it the best? Does that make it, I don't mean like the very, very, very best on the planet, but does that make it something that you should buy just because it's the number one seller? I imagine if you took some time, you could make a list. It'd be an interesting study. Probably make a list of things that are actually the number one seller, whether it's, I don't know, a soft drink or a type of ammo, or I don't know, a car, whatever you want to name, paper towels, whatever it means. It may not mean it's the best, is what I'm getting at. It may not mean it's the best. It may just mean, it may mean it's average, right? Because like the famous philosopher Hickok 45 once said in a video, without thinking, which is kind of the way he does his videos, most people are average, and I quote, all right? Yeah, so whatever most people do, think about it, or buy, almost by definition means it's probably kind of average. I don't know, kind of. And then two, if you're a cynic like me, a pessimist, no, I'm not really a pessimist, I'm just skeptical. I have noticed in my life that there are a lot of people who don't think very much. A lot of people are very shallow, in fact. So whatever most people are doing doesn't carry a lot of weight for me. In fact, it almost makes me want to go the other way. Not like the person who has to be the contrarian on everything. You know that guy, don't you? Yeah, usually it's a guy, I guess. Got to be the contrarian, because sometimes it is pretty obvious which is the best way to go, or the best product, or the sensible route, sensible product, whatever it is. And there are people who just automatically, oh no, 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 if everybody's buying that, I'm not doing it. If everybody's I don't know, using that type of gun, Glock, Sig, whatever it is, nah, no use for that. The hipster thing, or whatever you want to call it. So you do have that. You don't want to be that guy necessarily, although nothing wrong with that, just being different. But just to be different, if it turns you on, fine. But when you're talking about what most people do, most people choose, it doesn't mean it's best. Doesn't mean it's correct. Doesn't mean it's correct. That's kind of what the Bill of Rights is for, to protect the minority of people, right? So that you're not outdone by just the majority of people. So, but anyway, I digress and get too philosophical. Can I shoot this 40 again? I had several mags left. And one thing got me thinking about too, I have some 40. I haven't shot much 40, and I've got some 40 caliber ammo. It's federal, of course. It's right here, 180 grain full metal jacket. And I don't know if I have any. I don't know if I have any carry ammo. It's been so long since I've carried, or we've done videos with 40. To like, I usually like to have some. I don't always remember to do it, but I like to have some hollow point, so some carry ammo to just test the reliability. But we just haven't reviewed many 40 calibers lately. If you want me to get some 40, if I can find them, and something. It used to be anything that came out, it was available in 40 as well, right? So let's shoot this some more. All right. I'm going to hit that dumb gong. I'm not sure I was hitting it. I think I was not. Yeah, I was holding too low. Yeah, get up on it and you hit it. Yep, got a little punch. In a way, it feels good, though. I mean, if you had to use a firearm to defend yourself, that punch is maybe welcome. Because it's not so much you can't handle it. I mean, most people, you can handle it just fine, I think. And good feel. Good old gun. That was still in great shape. Got my Talon grips on it. And I put a little ballistol on it before I brought it over, because I dug it out, had in the sock, of course, one of my safes, and I thought, well, may have cobwebs in the barrel. I looked down the barrel after I opened it up, took it apart, and I put a little ballistol on the rails, and said, hey, I'm sure it'll do fine. It would have been fine anyway, probably, but I mean, literally, it hadn't been touched in so long. So yeah, might be my no carry gun. But again, it was, I really did feel like I needed to go one way or the other, because, I like the 26 and the 27, that's the 40 and 9. I like the 23 and the 19, both different calibers. I never did really care that much for the 22, which is a counterpart to the Glock 17. But, you got 40 and 9mm, and both, all the various, or the most popular Glocks, at least used to be the most popular in this format, 27, 23, 22, different sizes, subcompact, compact, and full size. Those ruled the world of Glock for a long time, pretty much. You had all those models in both calibers, that's what I was trying to say, and they look exactly alike. You can take this Glock 23, and if I had a 9mm Glock 19 magazine, it popped right in there, And so that was really got me to thinking so much, because I did, as you know, I had all those different models and all the different magazines, and I couldn't just look at that magazine. Oh, that's a black magazine, that's a 40. The Glock mags look alike. That would be one option, wouldn't it? Now that colored magazines are a little more common, like Desert Tan, or what else you say? That's about it, right? I don't know, that they probably don't make a 40, with 40 being dead, right? But that would solve that issue. If I wanted to keep a 19 and a 40, I could have a desert tan, flat dark earth or whatever, Glock 40, and then have flat dark earth mags or something like that. Just have that color coding. That'd be cool. Or I could just spray paint it all, like I do with my. I load some 45 Colt ammo that is pretty hot. You've seen I haven't had out lately much. Yeah, we did a big game hunt you've not seen yet, I guess. But I loaded up some 45 Colt, been years ago, and I still have several hundred rounds of it. But it's 300 grain bullets, and it's for the Marlin rifle. It'd be okay for a Ruger or some heavier duty 45. Did I say 44? It's 45 Colt. Yeah, it would be fine for some heavier duty, really well built handguns too, modern. But too hot, too heavy bullet, too hot for like 45 Colt. For most of the old guns, or even this one. So it's really I loaded that for the rifle, the Marlin 45, to get the most out of that Marlin 45 Colt rifle, the Model 94, because that thing will handle anything. So it turns it into kind of a poor man's 45-70, you could say. Okay, it's not quite as powerful as a 45-70, but I got a pretty stout load behind that 300 grain 45 Colt bullet, lead bullet, and so I don't want to. Point of all this is I wouldn't want to get those mixed up and put them in my Colt single action, okay? Because they might withstand it, but they might not. And so I loaded all of those in nickel cases. I bought nickel cases, and plus the bullet configuration looks different anyway. I could spot them anyway, but the nickel case is a pretty dead giveaway, right? Because these are the only 45 Colts I have in a nickel case, and so I got some boxes. I wouldn't even have to label them, really. I know just by looking at them what they are. So you want to be careful. You want to use the right ammo. We have a video called that. Use the right ammo. So anything else you need to know before I let you go? Didn't have anything else in notes jotted down that I needed to tell you. Like I say, don't forget about the Civil War show if you live in the area of Middle Tennessee, or if you live in Florida. Jump in the car. No, I don't make any money. I have the older I get, it's not a function of age. It's just the more I'm into firearms, I have progressed through the years, dabbling and reading about the Civil War, visiting Civil War sites, and getting some of the guns gradually and experiencing that. And I've become more and more of a Civil War buff, I guess, an enthusiast. Not in the sense I'm enthusiastic, man, I'm glad that happened. But it's just very interesting. It's just, I don't know how you can not be touched by that if you go to a Civil War battlefield and know what happened there and what happened in the country. It's just wild to think about that. And and to have those same rifles that they used and be able to shoot them. I've mentioned that before, of course, in videos, and I meant to mention as we were doing the one yesterday, I didn't, I forgot. But I live it's an old road, county road, but it used to be the main road between here and Clarksville and Nashville. And when it was the road, it was an old stagecoach route, and of course the Union Army took Fort Donelson up here, in Dover, and Fort Henry up there on the rivers, and then they moved in, took Clarksville, and then to Nashville, and so there were troop movements, through right here along my property, no doubt, and they might have stopped here and had lunch or had a skirmish, or they might have stopped here to rest or whatever, like right where I stand, and if you really want to get crazy. One of them might have been carrying my 1855 Springfield rifle, the exact one I have, or my 1861, or my 1849 pocket Colt, or what else I have, my Mississippi rifle. I don't know. They might have been carrying that rifle and stood right here with it and sat on a stump. There had been a tree right here, and someone cut it down, whoever owned this land, in 1862 or 3 or 4. And they might have been sitting on a stump, eating a bite of hardtack or something, with my rifle, on their knee. Yeah. So, how's that for crazy? Yeah, it's a crazy thought, isn't it? What are the odds of that exact thing happening? I should just make up a story like I've got proof that actually happened, right? So anyway, I have more interest in that, and because I've lived mostly in Kentucky and Tennessee in my life, well, exclusively, and I've traveled to a lot of the battlefields, Sumter, oh man, it's the one I can never think. Well, anyway, Shiloh, and of course Donaldson up there, Gettysburg, others I'm not thinking about. What is the one? Vicksburg, yeah, up on the bluff down on the Mississippi River, Vicksburg, and of course Chickamauga, down all around Chattanooga, and various times. And what else? Some up in Kentucky, smaller one. I've not really done the Perryville, Kentucky. I need to do that sometime. But it's just interesting to visit those and think about what happened there, study what happened there, and then just think about that a little bit. It's crazy, it really is. So that's why I bring that up. It's fun, and a lot of people don't have, excuse me, don't have as much interest in it. They're getting all choked up. It was a brutal war, but a lot of people don't have as much interest. Like you can tell, post a video on a couple of Glocks, on our channel, and may get 100,000 or 600,000 views, like that last Glock video or something. You post a video with a couple of authentic Civil War rifles, and to me, that's like way more interesting in so many ways. Gosh, the actual history in those two rifles, and that thing doesn't even have 100,000 views. It's just people see those old muskets and those old things, and I guess a lot of young people. Now, if you don't tap into the young people base, you don't get millions of views, of course. But and I understand that and don't care, because the people who do have interest, true firearms enthusiasts like most of you, you tend to watch those videos, and ours and others as well, because you're interested in firearms. But so when we do videos on those things, it's really for the most serious, I guess, firearms enthusiasts and people that really like firearms and are interested in learning about firearms. Because most of what we do, even if it is something from like that's so different, is still one of the most common firearms. It's not, like the 1861 or the Enfield, the most commonly used firearms in the Civil War that most people carry. There were a lot of others, or a handgun or whatever it is. So nothing like crazy usually, but nobody knows about. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble. Well, I think I started that when I hit record, right? Starting to ramble. So I'm gonna let y'all go. I don't think that. Oh, I know what I was gonna do too. Though. Oh yeah, well, that was gonna be my thing. If sounds like I'm recruiting for Instagram. I know a lot of you don't like the other. God, you hate Facebook and Instagram and all those places. Twitter. I don't really use Twitter, and the only reason really I have an account on like the Hickok 45 Facebook and the Hickok 40 or the real Hickok 45 Instagram is mainly it's really just to post things that you all might be interested in. That's it. It's not for my family or anything. It's just and to remind people of a video we posted, that kind of thing. I'll usually link to those on Facebook, Hickok 45 Facebook, and then sometimes if we go somewhere, I'll post a few pictures there. And then I post pictures randomly on Instagram. Same reason, just to show. It's for you guys. It's not. I'm not one of those guys like to hang out on Facebook or Instagram. But I wanted to. One thing you might have missed is where is it? I'll find it. Oh, I know where it is. It's in my pictures. I don't have to go to Instagram, but it's on Instagram. A friend of mine. And some of you saw this, sent me a picture of, you may get a kick out of this, sent me a picture, it was like several of us standing together, four of us, I don't know if that was the seniors, no, I don't know what it was, but, I cut them out if they wanted to be, I'm unfortunately a public figure, but they are really not, so I didn't want to throw them, but here's This is probably this was when I was playing basketball in college. This is probably 1970, I guess. I don't know if you can see that. And then that guy cute. Look at that hair. Oh, how focused that. That is some real hair, isn't it? And what a dude. So, but yeah, it took me back, 'cause I hadn't seen those pictures in a long time. I got kind of a scrapbook that I hadn't dug or packed away somewhere, but I hadn't seen that in a long time. And I hadn't seen that picture of the four of us standing there together. I don't know where he got that, but anyway. So I posted that on Instagram, for example. But I also posted, more importantly, pictures like this, like that beautiful 1855 Springfield rifle, the stuff you really want to see. Okay, picture of the table before we started the video the other day. I just do things like that. And some of you already know that because you follow us on there. John has a channel too. Let's see, just John Hickok 45, I think, and I always link to him. But he posts more over there than I do on that one. But I'll throw something up on there occasionally. Maybe, yeah, I could do that. That's probably what I should do. Since I quit doing the close-ups on the table, maybe I'll just take a picture. Yeah, that's what I need to do. Maybe take a picture and like when I get the table set up to start these, and then post that on Instagram, like Sunday morning as well, or something, or maybe Saturday, or whenever I want to, Saturday night or something. I don't know. It's all for you guys mainly. I mean, not to sound altruistic, it is a project. We want y'all to see the things we do because we spend time doing it. Obviously we get something from it as well. Don't want to come off as altruistic totally, but I do enjoy what we do, and I want as many of you to see the stuff we do that you can, and not miss it. There's so many sites and so much going on, and so many different social media sites, and some of you have kind of opted out of some of them. I can't blame you, and we're all most of us are upset with a lot of the social media sites and don't like using them, even though we do, and their values are so different in so many ways, and they don't like guns for the most part. And I post, let's see, you will have seen the video this week. Notice the video. Yeah, it's live as I speak. The Remington rolling block, the original Remington rolling block, Woods Walk. Okay, this gun was made in the 1880s. Okay, single shot. And that video did not get ads, it's demonetized, okay, for example, Now, I know they got these issues with AR-15s with standard mags now, like, it's crazy, but a single shot rolling block, so there's no rationale, no logic, no consistency, it seems, and I don't know if the drive is eventually just to create death by 1,000 cuts, as they say, Maybe in 5 years, you're not allowed to post anything that's more than 6 rounds, where it's got to have a hammer, it's got to be a revolver, or whatever. I mean, terms of service on any platform, they can make it whatever they want. Don't you love terms of service? I got an update on one. What was it? It wasn't Facebook. Some site updated their terms of service. As we all get those notices, don't we, from the various platforms we use. I always love that because, read your terms of service and then click here to continue. You don't have any choice but to click I agree. You have to accept the terms of service. So it's not like you're given an option like, what do you think about these terms of service? Are these okay? Do you agree with it? Do you want to be held accountable for these? You don't have any choice if you're going to use the platform. It's almost like the post office, said, well, we have new terms of service. You can't use this unless you agree to not ship any brown envelopes or some crazy thing. So anyway, some people are just of a different mindset than most of us are. They still think firearms are kind of evil, even though there are evil people who use them, right? We see it this week in a school. You got people who are mentally not right, There always have been people who were mentally not right. Look at me. And, they're a bit of a danger to society sometimes. Always been here. They always will. But we cannot let them deteriorate the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. That's not the proper use of deteriorate, I guess, right? Right? Okay, I was using an active verb, but we can't let the Bill of Rights deteriorate, because there are people who just not capable of living in the Republic with us. They need special care, or be locked up, or whatever. And sometimes we don't know that until it's too late. They have actually hurt some people. So freedom is messy. Yeah, it just is. Everything is messy. Nothing is perfect. And I, again, fall down on the side of freedom. I'll take my chances with freedom. And we can address most issues to the point where we're not living, in a world of danger every second, right? We can do things, take steps, whatever we have to do. But anyway, that's just the way the world is. And I've rambled too long, so I'm going to let you go. I really appreciate you coming by. And this Sunday, I haven't had a lot of wisdom for you like I ever do, probably, but I don't know. It's fall and Christmas is coming, and most of you celebrate Christmas, some of you don't. And that's the way that is, right? Some of you did not celebrate Thanksgiving, and some people don't celebrate anything. Some people celebrate everything, or celebrate things I don't celebrate. It's a big world. We have a lot of people in it, and everybody's a little different. And what brings us together, though, like on this channel, our interest in firearms primarily, right? And I'll say freedom. Not party politics, but just freedom, individual liberty, and the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, but firearms, primarily. And in a way, it's a uniting thing. I've gotten to know a lot of people, and a lot of you all that watch may think different. Well, you tell me quite often you don't agree with me politically or whatever. Even though I stay out of party politics, you don't agree, but you like the videos or whatever. And that's the beauty of living in America. We need to get along, and with people there's probably nobody I know that I agree with everything that they think, but there's enough common ground that I enjoy being around them, or I enjoy what they do. And it's just kind of the way it is. You don't want to focus on the negative. You want to focus on what you have in common with people. I guess that's what it comes down to. We're not doing enough of that. We're not focusing on what we all have in common, Too many people focus on the ridiculous notion of skin color, like that's something that we should even talk about. We should be talking about what we have in common, and not looking at differences and identity politics and trying to divide ourselves and all that kind of thing that the media and politicians gain so much from. But we out here in the real world, we mostly don't do that, I think. And so that's the beauty of this endeavor in the sport. Anywhere you go into a gun shop, a shooting range this afternoon and shoot, you'll see people of all nationalities and colors and gender and everything else in there, just enjoying the shooting range and having a good time talking with you and the people around you about the firearms and stuff. People generally are good and agreeable, and but we all have that side we have to suppress. We have to be careful we don't get to thinking too much about how we're different, right? I'm different than most of you. I'm dumber, I'm taller, I'm older, what else? I don't know, probably different in a lot of ways. But anyway, I appreciate y'all watching, and you can tell when I start rambling. Somebody accused me of drinking on one of these. So I don't, unless it's a soft drink, I don't drink. I don't drink as much of that as I used to. But no, I don't. I don't even drink much. Period. Like I've said, I'll have a beer maybe a couple of times a month. So I'm sorry. Can't blame it on that. Can't blame it on that. You probably have a friend or some relative, some old uncle gets to drinking, and maybe drinks too much and sounds just like me rambling. Maybe that's what it is. In my case, I don't need the drink. It just comes natural. So I'll talk to y'all later. It's been good to see you out here as the leaves are falling and blowing on this warm weekend. Life is good.